so different out there than it was for you guys. Like, I am lucky that I have a little bit of background on your movement, just because I took feminist theory as a minor at McGill University. And so I got a lot of like academic like knowledge about it. So I can sort of like academically, I can see where you guys are coming from. Today in real life, we are disproving theories that back in the 70s, 80s, you know, McKinnon and Dworkin were, you know, female separation and like, you know, it's all patriarchy, it's all misogyny and capitalism, that's the root of all evil. And if women just separate and, you know, we just don't give any more to the men, we just keep it, you know, keep it Butch-Femme, lesbians, whatever, that somehow somehow women's situation will improve. And I saw that in reality, like as a straight woman, my ex-wife proposed to me and kind of scooped me up specifically because she was she's still alive, unfortunately. She's a very manly, burly, that was the word I used. Gabby, what was the word you used? I liked it. Husky, yes. I like them husky. I like them burly, you know? I like them burly. So I was very attracted to her because she was so masculine. And that whole relationship was like a heterosexual relation. This is where it gets really tricky.
I'm listening.
It was like, and now don't take offense to this, but you're gonna understand why I say that the thing that's needed is guidance. All of the aggressive, abusive, misogynistic traits that men,
toxic masculinity.
Well, toxic masculinity, thank you. And this is very geographical as well. You know, everything, you know, intersectionality, right? So we're talking about East LA. So they have a very macho, you know, macho mentality, and the butches, studs, whatever they refer to themselves as, they have to take all these masculine characteristics, having side hoes, right? Having a bunch of side bitches, all that sort of thing, treating their woman, talking down to their woman, treating their woman like crap. They got to take that and put a 10 on it because they got to prove they're tougher than these men. And that's what I've seen manifest in real life. And it's so sad because it's like,
who are the role models is what you wonder, right? Who are the role models?
But I have to also make allowances for the fact, and I even talked to my therapist about this. It's like, there is no model for what they are doing now, right? Because when you guys were fighting for your basic rights and, you know, just even walking down the street dressed masculine was a big thing, that was a feat. And on one hand, it is wonderful. It is amazing that so many women, like all the straight women right now, because of TikTok and all the hot like butches on TikTok and all the hot studs on TikTok, everybody's a little bit gay all of a sudden because it's like, there's so many hot butches out there. There's so many hot lesbians. It's crazy. You know, women are leaving their husbands for them. I'm not even kidding. I'm not exaggerating, right? So this is awesome. However, there is going to be some sort of like, there has to be at some point, I don't want to say a reckoning, but the butches that I have dealt with, specifically in East LA, and also my experience, and then my friends who are femmes, who are real lesbians, let's say, like they weren't like a straight girl and then got scooped up by this butch who married her, and that. No, it wasn't that. It was they're real lesbians and they're with butch women, and they had warned me. They warned me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean crazy? I'm like, how? I had this idyllic, utopian, naive assumption that somehow it was going to be easier than being with a man. It was going to be softer. It was going to be kinder. It was going to be, bitch, I was like, damn, girl, you really like, you really are naive. And it showed me that it's not even about, like, feminism has to take a look at it, because it's the femininity. So now we're at the point where it's not even the biological factor that kind of puts you in your inferior place as a woman, but it's the femininity factor, because you can be biologically male, but if you dress like a girly girl, you're probably going to live to 35 if you're lucky, right? And if you're femme in this community, like a high femme, you're always the bottom. They always talk about that, the bottom. And I can tell you from my experience, I have not gone all the way, not even with my wife. I wouldn't, because first of all, I'm scared of that strap. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay, first of all, I'm scared, okay? And second of all, the power dynamic frightens me, because there's more of a power dynamic with my butch wife than there ever was in a heterosexual relationship. So all this to say that they are really, the way you guys were trailblazers, I see the butch community 35 and under as their own trailblazers, and they're just gonna have to fucking figure it out. And I think it's just,
I have to totally agree with you on the, and we've talked about this a few times. I made a list. Okay, I'll post a little bit. I made a list of how to be non-toxic with your masculinity, specific to this community, because it is an issue and it doesn't get thrown out there enough. So I love the raw and way that you presented that. It wasn't what you expected, and there it was. And
it was very notable that there was a lack of a roadmap. There was a lack of guidance from a previous generation. It's almost like, okay, the old school things that you guys had mentioned about opening the doors and, like, whatever, pulling the chair out for your ladies, like, they would never ever do that kind of stuff. I mean, unless you get like a miracle happening. Like, those are the things that me as a femme, I would like to see, from this generation. But I guess, I don't know if there's a disconnect, but it just seems like there's very little mentorship, right? In how to not be, like Day said, toxic masculinity. You can be very masculine, but you don't have to be such a chauvinistic jerk.
Yes.
But they don't know that, because this is like, it's all new. And you guys, I guess, if you can offer more guidance and just be more connected and share that with them, like that's why you guys have long-term relationships, right? Because you're not acting like a misogynistic jerk. That's the only reason why we see older butch femme couples married happily together for years, right? Instead of, every 3 weeks, we got a new,
a new
entanglement over here.
Years with my wife. I mean, I can be ass,
So you guys got some real good info and secrets. And obviously some of them are apparent to me, like, don't be such a jerk and open the door and, you know, just be a gentleman, a gentle person, for God's sake, and stuff like that. And if you guys would be able to connect with them and give them more guidance in that department, I think that it would really help the younger Butch-Femme dynamic, at least in my case. I know.
I'm curious to know how it would, how successful it would be if we started a mentorship within the community.
That would be great. That would be great, because it's one thing for the femme to say, dude, like, open the freaking door for me, or like, pull out my chair, or take me on a romantic date, or, you know, it's one thing, because it sounds like we're nagging. It sounds like we're bitching, right?
Right.
If you guys tell them that that's good advice because it keeps your femme happy, happy wife, happy life, you know, you guys have your own angle that you can make it seem like, look, there's a lot of bonuses if they're just nice and, you know, gentleman, gentle person, you know, be sweet to your woman, don't be an asshole, stuff like that. Don't have 10 side hoes and be proud of it. You know what I mean? Like,
there tends to be a connection where they think that masculinity means all of these things. And so that's a huge fallacy. And we really need to dump that because that's not, I mean, again, who's their role models? Who are they going after? It sounds like people are looking towards men for their role model masculinity and end up emulating that behavior downward because they think this is what it means to be masculine. And there's not, because there are not enough people out there that are told, hey, masculinity does not belong to just the male of our species. It is born in all humans are born with some degree of femininity or masculinity, and that means females too. You're allowed to. Look at me. Okay, I've got some facial hair. I still identify as Butch, and how dare I show up in public with all of this and not be male identified, right? But it's kind of like me trailblazing too, letting folks know that it's okay to show up and with your presentation as masculine as you want it to be. It doesn't mean that you look to males and their buffoonish behavior as role models. You still have to, come from the core of who you are. And
I love that term, their buffoonish behavior. I'm stealing that. I'm going to say, look, you're being a buffoon.
Here's some of the things that I had on this list.
Gabby isn't laughing over there. Let's let her chime in. She probably has been like, what, this whole time? Chime in. Say your piece. Say your side.
I mean, I think that yeah, unfortunately, like Day, you were just saying, is that toxic masculinity informs a lot of what we see, and so you do come across that a lot. And I also think that my dog is unhappy with it. I mean, toxic masculinity is pervasive in our society, period. So yeah, when younger, put the dog on. You want to be in? She won't. But yeah, toxic masculinity informs that. So that's really difficult. And I think that I agree that a lot of stuff gets lost because a lot of younger Butch identified people feel like they have to find their own way, who end up looking to men and those toxic ideas because there's not enough connection to who came before us for there to be other Butch women to explain, this is not part of what we do, right? This is toxic and this is not. And there's not, we get it from TV, which is awful. And we get it from movies and we get it from all kinds of things and we get it from examples around us. And so, I think that that's a real big reason that this all connecting with generations who came before us is so important, because that is a thing. And now, granted, of course, toxicity isn't new to our generation either, though. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, I know Patricia's, she knows. We see it all the time as well, that it's not necessarily new. So it's really just I think that we have to do it, and we have to show it, and we have to talk about it. I think we have to be willing to have these uncomfortable conversations and say
it's also hearing it. I can talk about it till the cows come home.
Or listen, yeah.
But really listening, because in society, that masculine toxic behavior, there's value to that. They get points for that. They're kind of top dog.
Bingo, 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 bingo,
like,
bingo.
Who doesn't want to feel that? So to step out of that toxic environment and become the respectful butch person, not even butch, but just a respectful, honorable person who can truly see people differently and be that kind of person. That takes amazing strength. And I'm going to say some maturity, because I was that young punk in the bar, hanging out, talking trash, but at some point I wanted to be mature, and I had to give up my childish things and be an adult. And I also grew up in a very, very strong feminist environment where you learned about wanting to treat people the way you wanted to be treated.
Yes.
And from what I'm hearing from you, Cindy, and what I'm hearing, I'm like, what the hell happened when I wasn't looking?
Right.
You have no idea what's going on out here in these streets.
I have no idea.
It ain't pretty. Sita wanted to say something.
That's it.
Right? Yeah. I was gonna say, I recall in my youth, like 21, 22, going out to the bars and being like, I really want to get laid, like we all do, and just striking out, and like I was using the same techniques my dude friends were using, and they were like, they were bringing somebody home, and I'm going, why can't I do it right? But like I realized it's because also I am held to a higher standard. Like, as much as I can get away with saying maybe a little more off-color things to another woman, like when I am approaching a woman for that specific endeavor, like I am being held to a higher standard. And it took me a while to realize that, like, I am going, in my daytime, I'm saying like women are equal, and all of the feminist things that I want to say, but then at night I'm going to a bar and I'm going, hey, do you want to come to my house? And it's like, no, I have to match all of my actions. And it took me doing a lot of work in myself to realize that, like, I have to do better in that aspect. And like, while it may not always be pulling out, a chair, it might be as simple as being to a place on time. My girlfriend hates mowing her lawn, so every summer I drive across the city twice a week to mow the lawn, and sometimes just to mow the lawn and then go back to my house. And like, those are the butch things that are like missing in other aspects of that. Like, it seems like what Cindy is missing, or was missing from that relationship, is that like there is a certain power in a butch woman saying to the woman she is with, hey, I got this. Right. And like when I do, I know that my girlfriend knows that she does not have to worry about it, because I got it. Like, I'll take care of it. But it did take some time to like figure that out. And like, luckily I did have, I throwing stuff all over. I did have some good people, specifically another lesbian who had kind of taken me under her wing. She's 12 years older than I am, and she was going, you're failing because you're doing everything wrong. and she was helping me out a lot in that aspect. So like, if it wasn't for that direction, I don't think I'd be doing as, I mean, I don't want to say well, but like,
You're doing well. You're doing well. And you're in a happy relationship. Yes, you're doing very well.
Yeah.
And you
like,
have that
what if you're doing as
mentorship.
well, you know? Yeah, and it was helpful, but I also know that there isn't opportunity for that. Not that I have necessarily been searching, but like I work jobs. Those jobs hire like younger human beings, and I haven't come across in my daily life like a younger butch lesbian who may need guidance that I could help. Like,
Or
just
wants to.
you know, just scrolling through the Rolodex of people I've met in like the last 5, I don't think anybody would have fit that specific, you know, area where I might be actually able to like genuinely help.
You know,
You know, I see that as actually the opposite, Sita. I see that the older generation needs you as a mentor. You know, that's what I see, you know, because we cannot open our lines of communication through the generations if we both don't accept the fact that we have something to learn from each other,
yes,
you know.
thank you for
And
saying
your
that.
experience as a younger butch, all of your experiences as younger butches are critical to the next generation. And I look forward to perhaps more conversation like this, where we can say, you know, this kind of shit is happening, and we got to do something about it, because it's unacceptable behavior, period, whether it's coming from a male or whether it's coming from a butch. That type of behavior is unacceptable.
Oh, yeah, and
Amen. Finally, I hear somebody say that. Damn.
in
I found,
aspects nowadays, in
I found
aspects
my
where
list.
I see any of that sort of toxicity, no matter where it's from, I make sure to stand strong in the this is not acceptable from anybody. I've called out my bosses.
Yeah.
Like I just don't care. Like it is not acceptable, and at every point I call out those things. So that's
So
what I
why
do.
is it that other butches are not calling out that behavior? Because we would not accept it from a man.
Yeah, if I may, I have this list that I made. I posted it in the group a couple times. That's part of this list that I've got going on here. I'm just gonna go through it real quick, see if you guys can relate to not just studies, tips on how to be non-toxic with your masculinity. Remember that masculinity is not synonymous to misogyny. It's synonymous to courage and honor. Remember that femme is not synonymous to fragile, it's synonymous to fierce. They are not disposable, you are not indispensable. They want to rock your world, not your ego. Don't get that confused. No means no. And protect them from the rain by holding an umbrella above them in a storm, but don't assume they're so fragile they can't hold it for themselves. Don't tell them what they cannot wear. Not everything is about you. They managed to get dressed all by themselves before you came along. Don't tell them who they can and cannot talk to. They're your property. Be the one they want to talk to more than anybody else. You want to be chivalrous? Be careful what kind of horse you ride in on. They don't need stage. They need loved, respected as equal beings. They love your masculinity. Don't abuse them with it. Dominant means alpha, not asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't raise your voice to intimidate. Don't raise your hand to dominate, and don't raise your glass to intoxicate and manipulate. Respect them enough to tell them that they're not the only one if they aren't. What breaks folks down is the truth of finding out they've been lied to. And locker room talk. If you wouldn't say it in front of everyone, it's probably not okay to say, and you probably already know that. It's the kind of talk that is in general grossly demeaning to the femme identifying folks. It's the same folks that make your world go around. It's not near as funny as you and all your buddies think it is. Try not to be that person, be above it, and try to understand why it's just wrong. Once you come to understand why it's wrong, please take the time to share that process with your butch and masculine friends. Be the change this community needs. It was a quick list, but it was a conversation I started because we were hearing a lot of it come up on Threads, and there was a name for it, and it's still out there. And as far
I
as mentorship,
freaking love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. However, I think you need to add a hook to get them to listen. You gotta get the message across that this is that behavior that you guys are modeling of being polite and treating your woman with respect and everything that you're talking about that you guys know benefits a happy relationship. You got to get that message across. Like, you are actually going to benefit. You, baby Butch, are going to benefit from this, from treating your woman nicer. Like, you gotta, we're very selfish and you know, it's nobody's going to listen to just, oh, because it's the right thing to do, right? You got to get the message across that behaving in a decent, non-toxic way, non-toxic masculine way will benefit them. They will get more of what they want. And that's the only way you're going to get them to start, because Sitta's story is exactly that, right? Yeah. Like, she realized through trial and error that, oh no, it's much better if I behave this way. But they don't know that. They got to know that there's goodies in it for them at the end. Like, their good behavior will produce positive results for them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, because right now misogynistic crap is being rewarded, and that's what they're seeing.
Exactly.
Can I just add something?
Val is watching as an attendee. Do you think she'd like to come on and speak? I can float her to a panelist.
If I may, I think there are two a bit two different sides to it. I think there's a lot of situations when, yes, people are sort of mimicking the behavior they see successful men do, and so they can become quite misogynistic. And one of the things, for instance, I'm sad about is it's very difficult, at least where I live, when you actually find another Butch or another masculine of center woman, and you're not alone, you know, and there's a femme or a more feminine woman in the middle. It becomes sort of like a duel. Like, who's the biggest Butch, who's the meanest, it's very difficult to get along. And then if that person is out, they can be great to talk to or something, but they have this need to prove that they can out-Butch everyone.
That's a very good observation, because you'll notice when other Butches walk into a room, there seems to be an unseen, unheard starting gun to a contest. For some, they feel like they need to push it up a little, sit up a little straighter, but they should see them as their fellow community and not as competition. And that's part of the problem right there. But that's exactly a very astute observation on that.
And for instance, as in regard to what Cindy was saying, for instance, in my country, even as a Butch, even if I would like to do certain things like open the door and pull out a chair and everything, I always kind of have a concern about if she's comfortable with, because I'm technically exposing us by that behavior, I'm exposing her as a lesbian and us as a couple, and she may not be comfortable or accustomed to that. So I think if there's an initial talk, because sometimes from my perspective as a Butch, you know, it's not that nice to be as visible 24/7. Like in my country, I know I don't even need to talk about it, because people look at me and they assume what I am. And we have something a little strange here in Portugal, which is we don't really talk about things. So people won't actually ask. They'll just assume that that I am what I am. And they're very, but it's in every aspect of Portuguese society. For instance, we had a Jewish president who only came out as Jewish after he was president. So, but everybody knew, but he wasn't expected to talk about it. It's like a weird Sunday dinner with your family every day or every conversation. So for me, it would be a concern when I'm with a femme that I might actually be exposing her to danger or to face conflict.
Yeah, outing her, right.
Yes.
And the fact that you're even thinking about the consequences for her and her feelings and what her opinion is on her own coming out or being visible, that in and of itself is like,
That's
what?
honorable.
That in and of itself is like, that's what's missing, you know? So, I mean, I applaud you for that. And of course, like, and the pulling out the chair and opening the door, those are just, you know, silly examples. But I don't think, if you think the way that you think, Anna, that you're actually taking into consideration her feelings, I mean, hey, that's like you're you're batting 1,000 or whatever they say, you know, because that's what's lacking. It's like, don't talk, don't think, don't make decisions for yourself, you know. And definitely your feelings as a femme and your opinions are not going to matter.
We have a question actually coming from Stevie Arnold, who I know is from the UK. Stevie Arnold is the host and admin of the page Butches Are Hot. I'm gonna put this question out here. Let me see if it says answer live. Okay. It says, do you think what Cindy is saying is due to Butches being no longer taken under the wing by decent Butches and not misogynistic, chauvinistic ones? And it sounds like that's exactly what's going on. Is we've got a lack of connection between generations of mentors, examples, and they're failing. Some of the younger generation apparently is failing miserably, winging it. And I think this is you know, one of those areas that it looks like it's gonna be something we need to pick up and handle. Right, Sista?
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, the issue is, like, I don't want to blame the media, but like the issue is like the male role models or the masculine role models overall, because like boys are getting the same misconception and like they're doing the same bad thing. So it's that, like, you know, I grew up thinking that like a suave man was you know, Han Solo, right? Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a butch character who's supposed to be, you know, handsome and gets the girl and like heroic, and like that's what I want to be seen as, like handsome, and I want to get the girl. So like they did those things, so naturally I have to do all of the things that they're doing to get those two things that they got. Like that's how the framework works, even though like in reality, like just being a reliable, decent human being works better.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you know, like being kind. Like I remember one of my guy friends was like, Sitta, how do you get the girl? And I was like, you find one you like and you show her that you like her.
It sounds
Damn, what a concept, right?
Like and then when she's like, oh my God, I like you back, you like keep doing things to keep showing her you like her until you don't like her. Then you let her know right away, and you don't drag her along, and you just be direct the whole time. And like it's it's mind-blowing how people don't like understand that, but it's because this concept of like, you know, snatching the woman up and like kissing her whether or not she wants it is romance. Like, no, it's not. Like, 2 yeses is romance. Like, that's what I had.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a trans man, and in the beginning of his transition, he said, you know, but Daywalker, how do I make sure that I'm a good man? And I said, well, first, you need to just wake up each morning, and your goal should be to be a good human being. And when you're seen as a good human being, and then that's attached to your identifying gender, you will then be a good man. But you need to start with being a good human being and not try to be a good man, because that's where you're going to stumble. That's where you're going to stumble. Start with
if I want to be a person, if I want you, Daywalker, to think that I'm reliable, then I have to show you that I'm reliable. That means when I say I'm going to show up, I have to show up, or give you the reason why I'm not going to be there early with enough time for you to make different alternating plans. And the same goes for in a relationship. I want the woman I'm with to think I'm reliable, which means that if I tell you I'm going to be there at 7, I'm going to be there at 6:55, and I'll just wait in my car until 7 to walk up to your house. Like that is what is missing. And that is something I had to teach myself. Like, that wasn't something that I saw on King of Queens and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that. You know, like this was something that I was like, wait, I need to do better, because I want to be with somebody who's consistent, so I also have to be consistent. I want to be with somebody who's loving, so I have to be loving. And like, there are adjustments that I made in my life.
And when you say it like that, thank you for being so honest, by the way. I thought, first of all, this is huge for me, because I figured if I say what I really think, I'm going to get accused of butch bashing. And the fact that you are actually validating my concerns, not just like, you know, but actually saying it from your perspective, that is so valuable. And I think if you would be able to share that information, that would be like a game changer, because a lot of these things seem like basic, just being considerate, right? Like basic how to get along with people in society stuff. But it's like, for some reason, they didn't get that memo. You know what I mean? And if you can share that with them, wow, I think that would be huge.
I mean, it's difficult because like, not a lot of people are willing to look at the places that they are cut on the inside and start to do the work to repair that stuff. Like, I didn't want to do certain things because of how I felt about things from my past, and like, whether or not they had any direct correlation, like, those are still hurdles that I had to overcome and I had to work on, and I had to like do the emotional labor to get myself into a position where, like, you know, I know we're not talking about actually opening doors, but where I could metaphorically open a door for somebody, you know, where I could be somebody that will not topple over when you lean on me. You know, like and that was tough for me, because there isn't a framework. Like, the closest thing we have to lesbian role models at this point is the cast of Orange is the New Black, and like a couple that we saved from the L word. You know, but you know what I mean, as far as like out and like thrown out there media figures, it's like there's like a handful of like well known, and then you get like Ellen's, and then Ellen's been in the news for being a jerk, and like, you know, nobody in the media, it's tough because you have to be perfect, and nobody can be like a person, and like, yeah, it's tough.
one of the things that has made me become the kind of butch that I want to be has been my 30-year program of recovery. You know, and I think, well, I know we all have our stuff.
Yeah.
You know, our scars, our hurts. And I couldn't be the kind of person that Val values if I did not do my work. And then not just learn what needs to be done, but to walk that walk every day. And, you know, if I want her to reach for me, if I want her to put her hand on me and express the things that I need to hear from her, I need to be the kind of person that she wants to do that with.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
What a concept. Oh my goodness gracious. What a concept.
Yeah. Why would you expect a femme, you know, the woman of your dreams, who's intelligent, funny, self-sufficient, articulate, all of those things that you dream about, why would she reach out to you if you were an asshole?
Right.
That's exactly my point. You said it perfectly.
Right, right. Absolutely. Like, oh, it's so weird that the girl you're screaming at from across the street isn't coming over to talk to you. Like,
right? And you keep attracting assholes.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
like, figure that out. If everybody that is attracted to you is an asshole, you might want to look in the mirror.
Yeah, right. Some people have a type, right?
So all of this to say, Day, and everyone here, what are we going to do? You know, so we've had conversation, but how do we turn this into action?
Well, I actually was going to start a mentorship a few years ago, and didn't get hardly any response to it. And somebody was talking to me and said, it's because the young folks are so full of themselves and so full of ego that they're like, I got this. I don't have to learn anything from you guys. I don't need a mentor. And I thought, okay, I get that. I think it's only part of it. You know, I feel like there's some who are not they're not fully understanding of the entire mentorship dynamic and what it's there for. And I really think that maybe the community is ready for the startup of a mentorship program. I think you're absolutely right, Day. Not only is the community ready for it, but there are so many miserable, desperate, frustrated, and confused because they don't know what the hell, why they can't keep a girl, or the girl of their dreams doesn't want to be with them, and they don't understand. You guys broke down the reasons, right? There's enough desperation out there on the baby butch side that I think people would be very receptive. And this
very,
is
very receptive.
Was to get the generations. I'm so sorry, sister. We should have had many more elders here. I'm so sorry, but I don't know where they're at. But I can tell you that this conversation today is exactly what I wanted. I wanted not to just look at everybody talking about their experience. I wanted you all to turn and talk to each other, because to me that's where we're going to find out what's missing. And I think it was just disclosed. They're one of the most important ingredients right now is guidance. And so we need to turn that into something and fulfill this need. People haven't had a lot of conversations like this, and for that to come out and be what basically took over this conversation, I really think that we need to take this and turn it into action. And
action.
So, the old community activist in me is always saying, okay, so now what are we going to do about the problem?
Well,
here you go. Here you go.
You know, so first of all, I want to say to everyone here, or everyone who's listening, please search me out. I do not have all of the answers. but I am willing to engage in conversation. And, you know, I have a lot to learn. So you can find me on Facebook at Sista, that's Sista Patricia. My last name is actually Ginn, Ginn. Say it like the drink. And I would love for you to send me a friend request. I would love to be able to engage further in conversation.
I'm gonna do that right now.
You go, girl.
Now I noticed it started off as a big hot mess, what with my computer issues and stuff, but I'm pretty happy with what we did get from this. And as the first panel, I'm seeing a lot more that I need to add to the list to have panels on. And while that's not the only way to navigate the needs for this community, it's going to be one way to start it. I think that bringing this up in the group in a thread is going to be important to do. I'll probably get it out there tonight and just explain that this is what we got on this conversation today, and get some feedback from the community and have them, participate in the conversation. And they have a module on Facebook for mentorship, I believe. I'll look into that. It's a unit in the group, and I'll see if that's going to be something that we can use, or if we just take off on our own and match people. We'll have to, it'll be the first.
Or even YouTube videos saying what you guys are saying here, but put it out there. Some people might not want to be part of a mentorship program, but believe me, they're going to watch your YouTube videos and they're going to try out your advice because it's so revolutionary. I think putting out YouTube videos that people can just watch in their private, sphere would be so helpful. Like, you guys have the information. I think just putting it out there and making it accessible, like, those stupid titles like, why is my relationship not working? Why does my dream girl hate my guts? Stupid stuff like that. They will click on that and they will listen, because you guys got so much like goodies, gems, and it's not being shared.
I have this session being recorded. I started recording a little bit ago. So I'm curious to see, it's recording straight to my laptop, to see if I can pull this up and possibly upload it to my YouTube channel as reference, and have a place, a talking point for it. So we'll see how that goes. I'll open it up when we're done here and see what that looks like. I'm thinking if it's video, it should be capturing the video too, but if not, if it's just capturing the voices, we'll find out. But
if you already have a YouTube channel, oh my goodness, that would be amazing. Like,
I do.
Imagine just a conversation, like 2 or 3 of you on there, and if you already have a YouTube channel, oh my God, like that's half the. Yay! I'm so excited.
Half of the videos I've ever uploaded was I took the photo montage from the Butch Voices conferences every 2 years, and created video highlights for them. That's a lot of what I've got on my page right now, but that's only every couple of years. So
if you could add a weekly, like, fireside chat, like kind of thing, like a weekly, Sitta can probably, give better suggestions than me at how you get the message out to the butches that this is something that could help them. But however you want to hook them, I think if you start doing that weekly, just kind of like, advice and just helping them to understand how to have a happy relationship, how to have
I can put some flyers up at Lowe's.
Yeah, do it.
Butch 101.
Right.
Butch 101. Butch 101.
Do you need help with something?
We'll definitely be hitting and recruiting Sista there to possibly get onto some YouTube stuff with me.
Yep.
And
nothing I like better than an audience.
Excellent. That is so good. Okay. I'm loving you today, by the way. I haven't,
Love you back.
I mean, all I get is, you know, a little bit of what I see people post, and I see their little thumbnails and whatnot. I think the first thing that hit me was that you ride, and I spent 25 years working in the motorcycle industry.
Fantastic.
But I was never an enthusiast. It was my job. But yeah, I spent a lot of time with that, and so I've always got a little soft spot for those who are out there riding. You know, yeah. But
persona.
This is probably a good place to, now that we've got a plan going forward, a good place to stop this one, so I don't, you know, wear out everybody's attention spans. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for even holding this. I have hope for the future.
Excellent. I really want to continue to do this and really elevate the community and our things that we need to work on within the community, and highlight those and just get it out there. So, and
if I could just add one more thing here, Day, and I'm sorry.
No, absolutely.
But what you've heard a lot from Butches today, and I think the femmes need to support the femmes as well, because femmes who are in really healthy relationships, you know, and they have that experience, are going to be so supportive of each other. And you'll learn that you don't need to tolerate that crap.
I agree, and I also have been talking to my wife for I don't know, months now about how I feel like there's all kinds of things out there related to Butch, but I'm not seeing anything femme anymore. And there's she's actually considering and putting together a crew to possibly do a femme conference, which we haven't seen in years. But I says, where are the we got Butch Voices, we got Butch Bourgeois, we got all these Butch. And while that's wonderful, I'm not seeing a lot in my own feed, even on my own group. I'm not seeing a lot happening in the world of femmes. My wife has the Feminescence group, and that has been pretty successful. And there's a place for them all together.
I like that group. That's a good group. I'm in it.
Right. So she had to restart it a couple times because there were some bad examples in there a couple of years ago, and she just archived it. And when she was ready to clean it up again, went ahead and restarted it, and it's doing very well. And this is what I wanted. It's like, we can't just be just like the world out there where it's a man's world. We can't just be, this is Butch's world. It's not. It's just not. And so
it's not working for them either. That's the thing. Sitta can attest to this. Those ways are not bringing them happiness and satisfaction in their lives. It ain't working for nobody, this model.
That's right. Well, let's make some changes, right?
Thank you, everybody.
Yay. Thank you in advance.
In advance, right? All right, well, I love to you all. I'll see you on the feeds later, yeah?
Yep.
Come and find me.